Hello. Happy time zone and welcome to Gilded Age, an actual play in the Cypher system about nascent heroes in a world entirely unprepared for them. I just love that transition so much. Dora did a fantastic job with that intro video. Anyway,
Dora's amazing.
she is. We are once more yet again here with a one-on-one. We are exploring the origin stories of Echo. I'm Dear Night Wanderer. I will be your DM for tonight, and with me is Sparrow.
Hi! I am the luckiest of lucky red sparrows, and yeah, I'm finally going to be able to talk about half the shit about Rhea that I know, that only Dee knows. Because obviously she existed before the amnesia, so it'll be fun to kind of reveal that bit, I guess.
Explore a little bit of a
Definitely nervous,
character
though.
behind the character.
Exactly. Yeah, I've never really done one-on-one D&D sessions, well, TTRPG sessions in general, so this will be interesting.
Yeah.
Also, I am dying that the last thing in our chat is that fucking picture.
Oh yeah, that's
Like, it's up on my screen
Yep.
because I have 3 monitors.
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
right there.
It's right there. Staring at you, staring into your soul.
Little bit.
Exactly. Yes.
I would like to preemptively apologize to all of the Irish people as I try to do the Irish accent today. May become Southern, not my intention.
And I apologize to everyone for any accent ever created under the good grace of God. So, let us start our story. Unlike most of the heroes that we started our stories with, this one starts inside, in a well-lit, very nicely appointed room somewhere on the top of a luxurious building that most people dream of having their offices in. Huge floor-to-ceiling windows cover one entire front of the office, and sunlight streams in, lighting a beautiful desk with very minimal arrangements on it. There is a letter opener, there is a little tray with unopened letters in it, there is a small docking station for a laptop, which is currently open and running, some sliding through various profiles of people that seem to have been made for one purpose or another. There is off to the side a cabinet of drinks that aren't labeled because they are in crystal decanters with just the amber or clear colors as the only things to delineate whether it is maybe a whiskey or a vodka or a gin. One doesn't exactly know unless one is the proprietor. Off to the other side, there is a set of luxurious furnishings, armchairs and sofas with a small coffee table in the middle, which currently are all unoccupied. Standing at the entrance doors to this room are 2 men in sleek, tailored black suits, black ties, black shirts, everything's completely black. They stand at attention. Their faces impassive. They are here to observe, to seek danger, to protect, and not to hear anything or see anything that doesn't pertain their task. Sat at the desk is a middle-aged man, lounging, looking at something on his phone, and across from the desk is, well, why don't you describe who stood at the other side of the desk?
Sorry, just hit my mic. Standing across from this individual is a relatively nondescript woman. She's pretty, but not in a noticeable way. Like, she's not one of those exotic beauties that like you see and you're like, damn, and you remember them. She's pretty, but not. Yeah. She's got long red hair that is currently tied up in a ponytail behind her head, that kind of just like cascades over her shoulders. And in contrast to this very like formal kind of thing, she's dressed in a simple pantsuit. a bit of grey, white shirt, very much professional but not remarkable. And she's wearing perhaps the only thing that delineates this from the norm is instead of, the normal like pump high heels or whatever, are black boots. Almost reminiscent of like combat boots, but like far less obviously. Do I have my dogs with me, or
Oh
are
yeah,
they not
absolutely.
here?
They are with you.
Yeah, I love my dogs. Sitting either side of her then are, well, one black hound and one white hound. They're quite large. They almost reach up to like her waist. And in contrast to how normal dogs are kind of like wagging tails, very happy to be here, they are very still and just like her, very, very no movement is wasted kind of thing. She doesn't fidget, she doesn't turn, and neither do the dogs. They're both just sitting and watching this man. Um, she's got her arms crossed, and she's just watching.
Three perfect statues of coiled, deadly danger ready to explode. And he says, "This is the man I was talking to you about. I think he changes names very frequently. But if we are correct, his actual name will be Rembrandt Stone, I believe. He was supposed to do a job for me, but ended up, well, stealing. We can't have that, can we?
Professionals have standards.
Indeed.
How much did you steal?
About 50,000. The
Big,
money
but not
doesn't.
big enough to... Of course.
I am not going to miss it, but it's a principal matter. They are... No one can steal from us and get away with it. So, I don't need you to recover the money. It will be... It already in our taxes.
She does crack a smile at that, just like the... Yeah. It's completely legal.
Absolutely.
Understood.
What I need you to do is to make an example of him.
A public example, or an example to fellow criminals like ourselves?
Both, if you can manage, but those of his ilk are the ones we need to be warned primarily.
Of course. I just didn't want to attract authorial attention if that wasn't what you're intending. But if you want it loud, I can make it loud.
I have, as always, the fullest confidence that you will perform this task to my utmost satisfaction, as you have all the tasks up to now. To this point, actually, it hasn't escaped my notice that, well, there has been an anniversary in your life recently, and he kind of like moves down and opens a drawer at his desk and pulls out this very nice wooden box, and he reaches it over the desk and he says, just a little token of my appreciation of your outstanding work so far for this organization.
Obliging, like she blinks a little bit, and that's the first time actual emotion is shown. And she reaches forward, carefully overlooks, knowing it's not gonna be explosive. He's here. Like, I know it's not gonna be an explosion because it's too close to him. But yeah, very gently, not pick the box up, just friendly opens it.
Yep. Let me just quickly double check on something. She opens the box, and as you do, like you said, like it's a very nice wooden box. Like it is very carved, and obviously, like the box itself is also kind of, in a way, a part of the present in that it has been custom made, and on top of the box is very finely engraved lettering which says ROM, and as you do look at the box, let's see. There we go. As you open up the box, you see kind of like positioned in a way as to make like a perfect rectangle these two beautiful tools of your line of work. They are custom made. They are engraved with the same lettering ROM. And what do they look like?
So these are twin pistols, correct?
Correct.
Yes. Okay, sorry. I'm so they are long, thin pistols with red crystals kind of towards the end of them. Mostly for ornamentation, but also if you ever really need money, take them. They're not obscene length. They're about a little bit longer than a revolver in lengthwise. Hang on. Yeah, so one of them is that, and I think I had a rifle as well. But I don't remember if I have that or not. Doesn't matter. Twin pistols. Twin pistols. Yeah, so they'd probably be about the length of a rifle. Not a rifle. 6 pistol.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Revolver.
I'm having a day, guys. And as soon as Rhea sees them, she's just like... There's that little bit of childish excitement. Because up until now, she's mostly just been using Glocks as normal. And she very gently picks them up, careful not to point them at him, obviously, and just like tests the weight of them. They're gorgeous.
They are perfectly balanced, and even as soon as you pick them up, you realize that the grips have also been made, basically molded to your hands. These things fit like a glove. They are an extension of your body as soon as you pick them up. Measurements have been made.
Marvelous work.
And
A little bit concerning, but yeah. Yeah. This is marvelous work. Thank you. I didn't expect anything like this.
I appreciate the work you've done for this organization. The box has a double. It has a double compartment.
I will seek out the double compartment.
And you find it's not particularly difficult to find, because you realize that, like, once you picked up the pistols, you kind of realize that it's much thicker than it needs to be to host the two pistols. So you kind of like just take it and on the side you see like two little sliding panels that you kind of pull towards yourself, and it clicks open, and then you can kind of, almost like a toolbox, you can pull it out. And,
Yeah.
Within it there's for each pistol there's two God, what are they called? Like,
Magazines?
yeah, thank you. Magazines. Two magazines filled with bullets, which are also engraved. Like, it's just like nice little, right? Like, these are like your signature bullets. There's silencers for the pistol as well, and there is a kind of combat knife in the middle, which is also kind of in the same style.
She's immediately enthralled, like, very carefully, does it very clearly not arming herself. There's
Yeah.
steps, like, she checks it, make sure it's not pointed towards him. Takes it out and a few little twists it. Frankly, honest, this is amazing craft. Can't wait to put it to good use.
Recently acquired a very, very skilled craftsman who is willing to work with the organization. I'm glad you like them. Perhaps you might get to use them on this stone fellow to test him out.
Happily. We do need to make a show for people that betray us, after all.
Quite. Once you are... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Did you have any specific requests in how I deal with him other than making a message?
Just a message. It would please me to know that he was aware and afraid of his upcoming death, but it is not necessary. It is just a, little bonus for my own sensibilities. And he kind of like cracks a little smile.
She nods. That, like, little curl to the side of her lip. Understood. I will say that she does place the guns into holsters, and returns the Glocks and the previous combat knife, gently placing them on the thing.
Yeah.
And just tests the weight of them. I feel like the dogs are still perfectly still as she does this. Oh. I'll see it done.
Now, I imagine that the dogs have been so exquisitely trained that just like a small hand motion is enough for commands. So I assume that when Rhea walked into the room, she like did a little hand motion that meant for the dogs that they need to sit and stay, and or like stand and stay, whichever. And they haven't moved since. Like, these are extremely well trained dogs. These are an extension of your incredible professionality when it comes to what you do. And so they are equally, so they don't move. Although they do follow you with their eyes wherever you go. And he says, well, the last we've seen, he seems to move a lot between various charities. I think this is how he watches me, that he acquires. One of his frequent ones is the Kingdom Hearts Children's Hospital and Charity Organization. They have an office for donations downtown. That might be a good spot to start looking for him. Oh, and just almost like as an afterthought, he looks over at his laptop, presses a few, does a few clicks, and there's the sound of a printer that is apparently somewhere beneath the desk, as it kind of like prints out a couple of pages, and he gives you a sheet of papers which has a different person on them, and he says, "That's just do that one while you're at it. That's just a side, if you will." And it is a It's a young man who seems to be like, at least in the picture, he seems to be in like some sort of courier-like clothing or something. So this is probably just some low-level grunt who kind of did something they weren't supposed to do. So they're also a target. But obviously, this is not a priority. It's just someone who, like, along the way. It's an afterthought, which always means that this is, I think they're kind of just like They need to die. There's no requirements for it to be in any way, shape, or form like public or message, or there's like no preferred method. It's just like this person needs to die. That's it.
Understood.
Uh,
You require him to retrieve something from this person.
Bring me his phone.
Understood.
Well then, happy hunting. And
Incline.
no, and he kind of like this happy hunting. Even as you're going towards like towards making this sign of acceptance of kind of like having understood, he already has turned his attention to something else. Like this conversation is done for him. He doesn't wait for confirmation that you've understood that like you need to go do your job.
Yeah, it's just expected that
Exactly.
it's obedient. It's obedient. And she'll react like that's just how it is. So she inclines her head, clicks her fingers on the dogs, and
They immediately get up and follow you, and as you kind of pass the guards, like base, like this is kind of like the equivalent of an insight check. It's like reading people essentially.
D6, right? D20.
It's a
D20.
D20, and it's gonna be just a level 3 test, so you need 9 or higher on your D20 for that.
Okay. That's cocked. Just check that was 20.
You have Arcock.
70.
It's the 20. Blade Run Murphy.
17.
17. Okay, that's yeah. So you kind of like pass, and as you're passing these guards, you realize that like they're good at what they do. They're very good like not seeing things, but they're not nearly as professional as you are. Like they're not at that level. Well, I shouldn't say they're not professionals, but they're not at the fine-tuned level of your capability of like standing still and not having any emotion or anything. So as you do see like this little bit, like it's just a glance, right? It's just like a split second of one of them kind of dropping his guard for a moment, just kind of like a surreptitious glance towards you, that tells you that at least one of them is definitely very kind of. Perhaps jealous is a word that we use. Like there's definitely a bit of emotion there that's happening. But also at this time, like even both of them, you notice an increased rigidity as a as you pass them because they are aware of just how dangerous an individual you are, especially when you have other dogs with you.
Kind of catches like the winks at her, raises an eyebrow, doesn't really. To be honest, they're not able to her. Like she clucks and splits because they're trying. She clucks and splits because they're closer, but she doesn't give a shit how to feel about her. Just kind of. I think at this point in life, you don't really see people anymore. She sees shapes, and how colourful the shapes are how much of a threat they come to her. So for her, a lot of people are just grey.
Yep.
Like
Everything is an assessment.
she's just, yeah. So she doesn't really react emotionally because there's no emotion there. She just, it would be like getting angry at the sun. There's just exists.
Yeah.
Although I will, like, I'm pretty sure I have sweet emotion better than she does. So like, there's even like a hint, like, just respect this, like sniff from like there, just like fuck you.
Like these two absolute fucking killing machines that do not react, do not move when not commanded to while they're on duty, and there's just like this little sniff, just like this, as passes it on.
Just the idea that it can flinch because it just suddenly looks over. And like I think the only thing well that Rhea cares about at all is her dogs.
Yeah.
Other than like her loyalty to the organization. Any emotional thing she has is to these dogs. So like those people lay a hand on those dogs.
Oh, they're dead. Absolutely.
But she's very calm as she leaves. Keeps the dog with her.
And as you leave, go into this like sort of a little bit. This person has very much tailored the style of this entire floor of the building towards certain purposes, right? So once you leave this main office, there's a little bit of hallway as you walk down it towards the other end, and there's guards posted at each of 4 corners of this hallway. But there's nothing else other than that, which means that obviously it was created with the intention of making almost like a sort of ethical pilgrimage, right? Like you're on a path that leads towards the big office, and you're entering, and away from the big office and you're leaving. And while for maybe some members of the organization this is definitely actually to be seen as a great honor to be summoned to the office, for many more people it is almost a point of dread to have to walk the hallway towards what is most frequently actually an execution of sorts, at least in like so much German to leave my like brain is on. Maybe it's just announced because there's very rarely opportunity for restoration which is actually built in the office with this building, but sometimes
It's very life for death is given. Like you go there. Yeah. Maybe you won't be leaving the building.
Exactly.
I think.
Yeah. And beyond that is like a little bit of a waiting with very luxurious furnishings like leather, which are just like that. And there are people that they're very nervous. Like 2 of them are probably like ethically dehydrated, something called sweat that has been running their brows. And one is trying to seem much, but definitely has a significant amount of anxiety. They're like they're constantly flicking through a magazine, probably a little bit faster than they should. And beyond that is a reception desk where there's this wonderful like old lady, like a perfect image of a grandmotherly figure. And as you have her, he's up it and like pushes out a little bowl of sweet sweets, even though you probably never took any unless you truly insisted. But she always had like smiling. Like this woman is essentially this old granny of an assassin organization ever existed.
Then she went to sweet, but she would definitely stop because this is again like, much the head of the organization is. If this is important to her, it's very much she would have been. If she treats the dogs, she would treat the dogs because like, everybody in the organization knows like, if you fuck with the dogs, like this whole place is burning down. So it's got to the point where she would trust women. I assume that what she trusts women to treats to her.
And you've probably you've known this woman since like she was what is, by the way, what is Rhea's age approximately?
Approximately about 26.
26, yeah. So you've probably like known
old
this...
enough to have been doing this for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. No worries. So you definitely know this woman for most of your life. You were, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but Rhea was pretty much raised within this kind of area. She may not have like necessarily gone on jobs from the very get-go, but she pretty much like this organization is all she knows. Like, So by this, she knows a woman since she was not a grandmotherly figure, but more of a motherly one, right? She knows a woman since she was like in the middle of her career and like being a very busy business person rather than. This wonderful, darling old lady, capable of extreme violence and definitely possessed of more than one shotgun being at desk of hers.
I know Rhea knows her, but can I have her name?
You can absolutely pick me if you wish.
I feel this is the perfect old lady name. Maybe her actually, that's how Rhea may have always been. So yeah, she stopped at the desk. I think, like, knowing that Rhea knows her most of life and that, I think, I'd like to make a correction to earlier about people being shades. I think I really realized to people that are part of the organization. By part of the organization, I mean, like, not family, but family. Like, so bodyguards, but like institutions, she feels emotional towards.
Absolutely. Like, the quartermasters, the organizers, the receptionists, like the people who have spent their entire lives and are still alive within the organization are this family. As you said, bodyguards, they can't go. It's just a different face in the same suit.
So them, there's color. They're people. But like bodyguards, low-level members that don't interact with her all that much, they're expendable. Much as a lot of the aspect of it is to her. Including this person that is very nervously flipping stuff. Flipping's book. She's not gonna be waiting for it because this is right there. And I just want to tell again. She's got. But she'll and give bands to us. Like they can go and say hello. It's either like she'll either give a verbal hand or just like a gesture or like and because they've been together so long she kind of communicate like because I don't want to try and come up with a full regime for the dogs.
There's probably like such a high level of rapport between Rhea and her dogs that they know the command that is coming just by like very subtle change in her posture. And as soon as like she's near to act, I imagine Rhea has like the tiniest little bit of relaxing going on to like maybe the shoulder slump like literally a millimeter. That isn't for the dogs to know like okay we can cut cuddle because this is important.
Yeah. Like immediately Aaron Gambit just like dogs again other than around the and like they work up and like tail wagging and bugging her. Yeah.
Absolutely.
One thing like this.
Of course, where else would I? Oh, such a dog yes, you are such good boys and should immediately stuffing way more treats into their mouths than it should be.
Wait, like, you mustn't treat that way.
Oh, but you're such good boys. You have to spoil them a little bit. And this is probably like there may have been like this flashback to maybe a situation a few years ago where you had to away like abroad and because you had Agnes take the dogs and like 1 weekend when you came back both like 3 kilos heavier.
So I would say. Oh yeah. But notably she doesn't call them like I think both know if she was really protesting all that. But it's like you know how like with family it's like you really should fucking do that. Yeah. God damn it. Toad protests. Yeah. Until that, it was like, the two very young people.
Oh. Okay. Like, wait for instance, just applicants and aspirants. And you know that applicants basically means they're there for essentially, they've entered the organization at some like extremely low grunt level and have to essentially pass a vibe check with the boss that ever does. After like learning how dangerous it is to disrespect the boss in any way and like how very easy it is to respect him because of a very complex and imaginable just primarily for like it's kind of like a thing where the lower the food chain you are the more incredibly complex this navigation of etiquette becomes because there's so many more rules to when you're all the way up and for you like you there's this pride in instructions in the films but you know that if you wanted to you could literally like, go in and lounge on the sofa like get your feet up on the coffee table and you can say anything but it also is where that you would be allowed to if you wanted to and that
little bit of respect like she knows walking in there that she's not the big dog in the room. Exactly. And the big dog in the room would eat her if she's like mad at now.
Exactly.
I think I got into one eye and like had the retreat there. He was walking at some point to see like stitching back there and just like possibly expensive alcohol. Exactly. I think I was actually on the couch too. She would never back him. She would do anything like that. But in return, she knows that is the safest place in the city.
Exactly.
Which is that room.
Exactly. And And to be clear, that room is definitely the safest place in Cypher, but it's not a safe place. Like it's
Okay.
a lot of danger there. It's just like danger that you are very used to navigating, combined with a lot of protection that comes with it. And when Agnes says applicants, that she means like people who have entered. And when she says applicants, she means people who are seeking to make a deal, right? Because this is primarily an organization that does like there's a lot of stuff to get done, but money is always at the center point of this, and as such, a lot of people are here asking for loans or support or something. Like, we're talking. This is not a professional assassination organization. It's nothing of like getting hit out on people, but it is very much a place where business of some sort needs to get done. Right? And so whoever wants to be like the new whatever in the underbelly of the city, they have to go through this.
That way, I'm telling her ahead, and like, if these people are being important, just kind of. Is the applicant one or the aspirant?
The applicants are the two that are sweating, and the aspirant is actually the guy who like recognizing nervously.
Another easy struggle.
Yes, they don't make them like used to anymore.
Very promiscuous. She genuinely is just like, I know professionalism.
No, this is very hard on high theory. Take a cookie with you.
Needs a little bit of Harry. She never takes a cookie, and Agnes always wants her. I would not wish to waste such a wonderful meal. Perhaps what I would say.
Well, theory. And she comes, give me an intelligence task. This is we're gonna call this a difficulty 4, I suppose, but you have you have 2 levels of an intelligence power which we are gonna be applying here, so that reduces it to a 2, so you need 6 or higher.
Oh, thank God. 7.
7. Okay, there we go. So, like, this thing, she gives you like this little bit of smile in her eyes as you go through this. I'm fully aware the cookies that she offered you are perfectly safe cookies, right? But
Yeah, there's no point in enough.
Agnes has definitely made her a name with meals.
Yeah, and like, I think part of it, I think part of it is respect of that Rhea doesn't take the food. It's not that she's afraid that she's poisoned her, it's that she's acknowledging her as a threat.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Because it is, without missing what it is, perhaps not the most, the most emotionally and socially well-adapted individual within like North society, but this is her bread and butter. So all this kind of like acknowledging someone as a threat is a sign of like love and respect. Like you're actually saying like I care enough about you to know that you can kill me and like, to prepare to kill you. Like that is essentially like what others like tell you.
Yeah, that's literally my comment and treat somebody she knows like that because you know like that people are the threat of it.
Exactly.
Everyone else is right.
Building this, you have to have a direction, you have a location to go to, and as you look at it, you see that the site, the little side task you were given, it's actually on the way. This sim works as a courier for service that is kind of like between the building and the charity office, you're told.
It would also have a great motorcycle, and it does have. I just love the fact that it has a little somehow big enough for both of us to get to. And the only reason I bring it up is that something he has that off. I rate that. So, and I assume someone has to up. And she usually like kind of glance over to make sure that it's not something because the kind of stuff always does. She didn't have it. And she just goes, "Oh, Hunter boys, come."
And you
and
get
we'll swing up.
excited what's from each of them, and
yeah, they swing up and it's like. She will give them pats when they're in the motorcycle. Like that's the one bit of decorum that she'll and like gives good scritches. Make sure that, funny enough, she will make sure they have helmets, like little doggy helmets. She doesn't give a shit. I just love it. Like she takes so much of these dogs, she throws them, and she's like, "I'll be fine." It's all good. I'll be fine. But yeah, I definitely made my way towards this side task of hers.
Yeah.
May as well get it done away. Efficiency is key.
And it takes a little while for you, like, a little while. Like, you immediately get to the courier service and maybe stick it for a moment, and you kind of wait. And soon enough, this young man kind of like gets a task. He goes in, hops into his bicycle, and like starts off. And you kind of follow him from a distance. How would you? He's gonna go. You don't know what his address is, so you don't know where he headed to, but he's definitely gonna be weaving through. And many of these couriers kind of like dodge traffic, like weaving through less known like streets and alleyways and stuff. So there are a lot of opportunities where essentially like alone in a place. So how does it look like? How does describe to me this successful hunt?
Okay. So Rhea knows this about hand, so she had to avoid police and avoid angry gang members and to fight them. So when he starts to that she recognizes, she gets ahead of him and deploys dogs to basically they are so well trained they pull people with motorcycles or bikes without being afraid of being hit by them. She would deploy her dogs and basically let him see them first. Normally if she was just gonna kill somebody, she'd shoot them to get it over with. But because she's grasping from him, he's a little bit of tricks. And so she kind of I guess say that she manages to guide him down into like one of the back alleys that doesn't have an exit. Steps off her bike. I require your phone.
Sorry?
Your phone.
Lady, I don't know who you are. This is like just I'm just doing my lady. And he like tries to like move around. Like he's trying to move on, can't.
And like there's that growl as dogs in like the clips like they just like step around the corner. Yeah, both the dogs do that. And Rhea is completely unconcerned. We can just eat the hard way. The phone. Yeah.
Okay. Just don't. Okay, fine. Don't hurt me. Okay, I'm just curly. And he kind of fishes out his phone and hands over.
As soon as she has it, she's going to roll a pistol on her belt and straight. One of them fell. So like she has the phone in her hands and like confirms that it is his phone. Just not even looking, stop. Rolling eyes. And holster it. His gun doesn't have on him that she needs, like in case he had a sack or something. But she very much doesn't give a shit about this person. She doesn't care that he was begging to care that he was alive. She doesn't.
He hands the phone as the phone. You look at it. It's just a glance. You don't even put a whole lot of extra. It's just at the phone. You turn around. Your automatic just goes out. Shoot. There's this thunderous moment where the sound of the gun off of the balls of the street, and a life is such a transient and, in a way, cheap thing to Rhea. It doesn't mean much. He was alive, all this potential, all of this future of him, and instead he now is dead in an alley. All that changed all gone. And it's almost like, perhaps, to a certain level, it's like you have consumed his future. Perhaps there's a little bit of this idea distinguishing these lives before their time, if there are things that are time for a life to end, that you take on a part of their potential and extend your own existence by that amount.
Yeah. Maybe enough, she can pay more respect to the dead body and the person he was. Like, he will kindly, like, obviously wearing gloves, like, close the eyes, also arrange the hands. Because she didn't matter in life, but now he's dead, and there should be something to that. And I think that's something that the owners have told her, that even if she's a life sacred, it's important that's past. And so she doesn't give a shit about her, but she still needs that respect to one of her kills, in that she does the eyes, crosses the arms, not anything that needs, holding him in the dust and going back up.
So tell me, the position from which this kind of respect for the dead body, which was not for anyone, does it come from, how do I say this? Does it come from a position of seeing the dead body as a justification of her own existence, as it is her task to create these things, and as such, in some perhaps twisted way, it is almost like a piece of art that he created whenever she has created a dead body? Or does it come from a position of some desperate seeking meaning in a life that's been rendered so ridiculously meaningless by the severity of her profession?
I would think it's meaning, she's seeking meaning. Like, again, people aren't real, so like everything thinks, but she doesn't care about him. And thinking him, there was no, she didn't hate him, she didn't think he deserved to die, he just had a number was suggested out. And it's really after he's dead that she realizes he was a person. You know what I mean? Like, that he had a life and she did it. And while it won't stop her, like, she'll still do this every time. It won't stop her from killing again, but it is a moment of reflection that trying to take her, I did this. I need to remember that I did this. Because if I don't, then nothing matters. Kind of. So I should try quickly rather than like, because she had a job out this like it was an option. She could have made it long, and instead he didn't really get fear that he was going to die. He's got that second of fuck, then gone. And that's kind of her first method of getting it done. Like she'll she has to make a message because I do, but if it's dead, she goes quickly.
Yeah. And move on from here as Rhea goes on to her primary task. You stick out the chair, and soon enough, truly, Rand does make an appearance. With, I mean, he is not. There's a charm in him. There's a very soft charm in his movements. There's a fluidity there. But for someone who's trained in these things, as Rhea is, while it may not necessarily all of it be just for show, there is definitely awareness of how charming he can be that he has weaponized. What Rhea does with the sheer physicality of taking a life, he does with this hypnotic charm that he has. This absolute. Offense, exactly. He does business in there and he leaves the place. And as you kind of. He enters he does something and he leaves the place and you kind of follow him. And he takes like some tour stuff and goes around in the streets. And at some point, you kind of like, as you're following him, you realize that he seems to make you. Or perhaps not necessarily you, but he has this sense of being followed. It's something that definitely has changed the way he moves through the city. And as you kind of follow him, he still hasn't, like, maybe he turns around a couple times, he still doesn't see you. You're very good at disappearing when they're into disappear. And the possible reason why we're not clearly such austere blacks, right? Because
it stands out. It looks, he looks very like a worker, just downstairs. And that's intra card. She feels as a person until she has to, kind of. Yeah. She's just NPC, like, that's the way she thinks the world. Yeah.
You definitely have this way of putting yourself in a way that makes you one of the faces around, just like an invisible silhouette that makes And he doesn't notice what's him, but he doesn't notice who or how. And you follow him. There's a moment where he kind of stops and looks around, and there's a moment where you realize you also seem to be being followed, but this one much more. Just a sec, can you just double check on something? Yeah.
I'm bringing enough chaos into this. Oh, sorry, because the audio magics. They're currently bounced on my mouth, and that's very hard. That's a kind of just mood. Hey, Jason, I'm really sorry.
I got it. So yeah, that's kind of like there is a moment where you feel all of them like in the middle of individuals, right? And as you do, like, see, remember this stopped. You kind of like disappear once more in the as you do. You realize that he has stopped, but he is not looking through, or rather, he's not looking for following him. He's looking at the sky.
I think she would. If she's not inside, she would kind of like get her. So much feeling has become aware of being told. Stopped as looking up. That's the reason.
So as you look up, from what you see, snow. And this is strange because it's not winter.
And it's sunny day out.
It's sunny day out. And you realize it is not snow. It is strange motes of light They hit like snow. They fly in the air. They're very light. They go to throw, carry the errands. But it's light. And it seems to be like first a couple, and then more, and then more, and all of them. There's a whole lot of falling down.
Very would, because this is not like an experience before. Using child curiosity and reach up to like to touch one emote. Yeah, just very gently, just like touches one of them.
Now, tell me, obviously, I had gloves on while she was handling that. Does she have gloves always on, or do they come on and off as needed?
Well, since I say they come off an EP, normally range like the regular gloves, but when she went to kill somebody, she had like other that she's just over. So she could have just because she doesn't want to be seen anything there. Because an office worker is not wearing that stupid thing.
Okay, yeah. And you have to reach out and you touch it, and as you touch for a moment, it seems to like stick to your finger, and you kind of like look at it, and it just stands there on your finger like a particular amount of light. And then there's this warmth that you feel in your finger. The thing melts, kind of like a snow wood. And it's like there's this warmth that spreads over your finger and then over your hand, and kind of like for a moment, it's a very strange feeling, like just like a weird kind of warm piece of light. And then I kind of look over, you see kind of Rembrandt off in this, but somehow the street seems to have gotten longer. Like you were maybe 20 meters away from him, and all your fingers away from him. The bar that was next to you is still next to you. According to him, is still next to him, right?
Okay. The face is looking.
Yeah.
Kind of rub the fingers together,
You kind of like you haven't necessarily seen this. Like they've looked at you with concern and curiosity before, but you've never been unable to determine what it is that they are. Kind of what now seems to be like there's confusion to them looking up that you haven't seen before.
Kind of just rub the fingers together. I think midnight. I think going a bit weird. She would probably have because it's evidence of the fight she has. She might get one of those super. Like if she doesn't know what's happening or if she's gonna be okay, it's like she's gonna like I know what's playing with that, but like. From sense of friendly, someone who's away. I said she would try and get rid of it. She comes to give him command to bury it.
Yeah.
And he does not bury it, just fuck away from me.
Absolutely, yeah, fully. And he like give it to Gambit and like in links off, and as he off, he kind of like stops dead in his tracks, drops the phone to the ground, turns around and comes back to you. And as he's kind of like back to it, this absolutely unprecedented moment of physically disobedience. You look at him and you look there, and all of a sudden like, the world gets very, very dizzy and very fast, and it starts to spin. And for a moment, there's this kind of flash of white light into your eyes, almost like a blinking game that makes you go like just white for a moment. And then as you open, you kind of like blink your eyes and then look around. You are on this. They're standing on a barren landscape of blackened, cracked, and dried up earth, and you see this kind of swarm of small black things all in the air, and they kind of seem to pulsing towards you. And as they do, they almost like into a rough silhouette. It's almost like as if thousands of small black flies were trying to portray the silhouette of you. And as kind of like coalesces in front of you, big reaches out this same hand towards you. And there is kind of buzzing back there, this pressure, this vibration, almost like of too much bass and too much kind of this electrical thrum that is just kind of in the back of your head, starting to spread forward as a headache, as this figure kind of reaching hand towards you.
This is interesting because Rhea's not afraid. That's the thing, she doesn't get afraid because the guy that lives with that's everything. This is very, very much strange to her. Her daughter, right? Like in the barrel. Okay. I just want to clarify because she would break with them, but they're not with her. They're just going to be fed. I think what she'll do, speak of hurting, it seems to be something important. She's going to reach out and try to touch this thing that's where it's reaching out towards her.
And as you do, it's like mental events, as you realize that you're not touching a hand, like there's no counter pressure of a full hand, but instead like all like there's so many these tiny little metal pellets almost that kind of stick to your hand. And as they do, they kind of there's this understanding that you get between yourself and this swarm. And this swarm is not communicating with you so much in words as in emotions and concepts. And the emotion you're getting off them is this panic fear and need for survival. And they're kind of like standing this thing towards you. And you also get like this idea of, is this swarm of this creature, whatever this is, asking for help?
Rare is one that necessarily have wailing something. It's something that's magic, but I think I've felt these it's also normally feels. But desperation of this thing, like I feel like after like she would like that she doesn't really experience herself would make her feel empathetic. And so instead of retracting her hand as kind of thing, she will push forward as accept. Like help.
Yeah, as you really this kind of acceptance of this need for help, this fear almost like splits open, and like this swarm starts going around. It kind of envelops you in this cylindrical shape and starts spinning, and as it does, slowly it starts continuing until it's just like this tremendous swarm of black shapes going on your head, and they keep going faster and faster and faster. As you do, like that thrumming, the pain in your head starts to increase, and like there's this buzzing that's happening, this high pitched moment of tinnitus, and this background buzzing of a connected subwoofer that is emitting this like vibration out. And as it does, there's these flashes of images that start appearing for it. This flash of something happening that you can't quite even put. Like as you're observing a scene that can't really stand on. There's like this person who is doing something. There's millions of people who are dying, and there's it's just an absolute massacre. You see implosions of planets, and you see collapse of stars as they supernova, and as it comes to the them, it spreads out and branches out, starts spinning, and it does spin, it collapses again, black holes, and these black holes change, and everything left and dim. You see these balls of reality break down, and things stop making, and things become source of color. It's become something that is actually familiar with, because people are just colors. Great people are not colors. Colors, people are dangerous. As that was what the phrase, but
people with colorful
auras are.
We're gonna get canceled.
Yeah.
Was it the great one?
Yeah, anyway, thank you that's all for us for this little thing.
I probably made this set up. Like,
No,
to be clear, not racist. Oh, fuck. Sorry to derail that.
There's this world, these rainbow colors, like these streaks of red and green and purple, and there's like gray districts through it. And through all of that, you see like these golden strands. Again, come on, strands. And as they do, they kind of like start almost forming something that looks a little bit like a web, like a very intricate weave or something. But then they kind of like start vibrating around, fraying at the edges, and you see almost, like only a section of it lit up more than the rest. The rest of it becomes dull. And yet somehow from that dull area, there are these shiny little moments that also kind of like lead towards. And this feels like a fever, like something so hilarious that they're able to pay attention to. And you kind of like see in front of you the face of your boss. You see in front of you Adam's face, and both of them kind of superimpose over each other, and this sort of fade apart. And then again, and like, there's this kind of like almost half of her face on another rule, but just like it doesn't exist. Exactly. And they're half looking at you, and as it looks at you, you see like the kindness and love and all of this kind of care she shows you that you're simply the one person who care most for you. There's this tremendous sadness that comes with you as you realize all of that safety. You no longer know who this is. All of the that were there, all of the individual little bits and pieces of her personality and all the little traits and the relief of the face move out, and you see grey. And as you see this grey, you realize there's all the grayness of the boss, and you see in front of these three things. You see in front of you your boss and Agnes, and all of this strange familiar feeling that they represent. And you see on the other side, you see the kind of existential dread of having to live life, and a jealousy of the dead, that they have to go through life. They don't have to deal with emotions. They don't have to do all this difficult stuff. And how you are the one who is dealing death to others, how you are essentially them, perhaps not necessarily create the simplicity that is embodied behind the cessation of existence. And to the right, you see Gam to there. And from these three kind of groups, the paths elbows you. And you feel the urgency of choosing a path, knowing full well that whatever you choose, the rest is yours.
I think she feels because it will matter to her outsiders. Like the thing that are here and knowing she's going to lose them is not necessarily before. But I think it's always an easy choice for what she would choose to keep. Not because she doesn't inherently love religion in her family or understand the hesitation of the essential right to be simple, understand finally. But her the only ones that have ever loved her without condition. They never asked anything of her. And I think like that in the early days of her training, she was young to stand and she had emotions. She would claim them because they were the ones that stood. And that's why she loves them. So she would pick them. She chooses the fight that Bear and Ambit on because they've always been loyal. They've always been there. And as much as she doesn't want to lose anything else, she will pick them.
Yeah. And as you do, there's this strange, unprecedented warmth that spreads across your chest. And for a moment, there's possibly even a spike of that fear as you kind of think, shit, having stabbed in the shot, is this blood pooling across your chest, is this warmth? You kind of look down, and everything there is perfectly clear. The warmth is coming from within, apparently. And I kind of like pick that thread, that path, and it kind of shortens, and the dogs come towards you. As they do, there's this buzzing again, it increases, this high-pitched whining, as you for a moment look back at Bear and Landscape. You see little holes in the spaces between these individuals of this warmth. As you sort of come to a point where it's spinning so quickly around your head, generating sort of electromagnetic fields, to be racing your personality. They are seeing their main space for what it is coming for them.
Can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
For the first time in her own time life, she'll beg, keep safe. What happens to me? Never come for this, please. Be happy. Please. And she has like tears in her eyes because she said that whoever come after this, she'd be a help, will help her outside, but they're the only thing in the world that matters to her. But she's still everything fine. Like, prepare them, loyalty, love, and protect them. That's what she of this one. Please.
There is a pulse, a change in that patient temper. They're really short-lived, only little. And this pulse interpreted as acquiescence, and then still not certain of it. Whoever does that, but maybe that's just hope. Maybe you're just hoping that that is what it is, because it might well be a laugh or a derisive cough as the world fades black. And there is a time for which you float into the void, black. You perceive yourself as empty, while not necessarily a feeling your body or surrounding. There's like this tremendous, endless blackness, this darkness that is everywhere. And as you kind of like feel more than think about this, you realize that this endless nothingness this has been consigned to all those people, perhaps. They may go somewhere else, but this is what's being ruined. And if many or some of those you have consigned are here, this is so tremendous, its void is so hungry, there is not a chance whatsoever you would ever come across anyone consigned to this. This is such encompassing, dark and cold and ravenous nothing that can't exist here in any way, shape, or form. The only reason I use here because so much of you has now, within say a minute or seconds, disappeared. Your awareness of the space is only granted you the lack of awareness of self because there is no self left to be aware of. And there's this wetness of the tears that you cried that is on your cheek. And for a minute you don't know why you cried or what crying is, but there is this kind of wetness on both of your cheeks. And as you kind of touch and look, and you don't have you have impression of touching your cheek, but you don't have hands to touch or to feel with. You don't have a mind to think or interpret with. And that kind of decreases, and then increases again, and then increases again, until it becomes like this sticky rhythm of all they first cry, as they tears or up your cheeks from them. And slowly that starts to fade out, it'll fade back into color, back to light, as the edge of the void fray out with light as it generates around in. And as it does, you realize that there are two dogs' tongue licking at your cheeks, as you open your eyes to sky. Some cross trees above you as you get from a field of grass with these two dogs in your face.
Easy. It's just, is it oh, beautiful. It's good scratch them.
And as you scratch, and as soon as you touch the back of this head, damn it. And as soon as you touch the back, you have the dog's head there. And you don't, like, you know your names there, words, they love you, that, but you don't know anything beyond that.
What happened? I listened. Looking around, it's really interesting because this body's very serious, huge emotional spikes. But right now she's scared. She doesn't know what she is, she doesn't know who she is. Wait. What happens? She perhaps 5 seconds. Where you are.
And much in some way, it is very strange because you guys know instantly the way that they behave. You can sort of laugh on their behavior a lot more than most people be able to. And you kind of look at them, they seem to be perhaps not necessarily as confused as you are, but only marginally less confused, but significantly more worried about you.
Sorry for the scare. I think we need to get somewhere safe. We don't think we're safe. Can you be somewhere safe?
And almost like that's something that they are very familiar with. They immediately kind of stand up and kind of crowd you both sides at the same time, allow you to lean on them because you need to. They have direction in the direction.
Sure, like, she kind of said, I think the old instincts are still there, in that she would have steward She will walk with silence, please, and that's what it does. That's not her memory. So she kind of, she doesn't really notice that she does this, but I feel like dogs would have still the same in that movement. But she will follow the only thing she knows at this point. They know where to go to safe. She'll go.
Yeah. And as you can follow daily on this critical, it's almost like they seem to be able to use this idea, and you feel there's attention to them when they do this. It implies they are also familiar with this feeling of not recognizing the idea. It's something that seems to have changed for them as well. Not as massive, I agree, as Fish had for you, but they're also not fully certain of their surroundings anymore. Eventually, they leave down streets and turns and go this with that. So let's spend some time with this abandoned looking warehouse that has this door that seems to be barred with and placed up with a padlock chain. And they kind of like just stand in front of it and look at it and look at you and look at you.
Okay, safe space. Right. There's a key. I'm just gonna have it.
As you kind of pat your pocket down, you don't find the key, but you feel it's on their sides. You feel kind of already become aware that very easy to combat as well. And like you become aware of all this weaponry at the same time, you become aware of your body's ability to like this. The very strange sensation is almost like you've suddenly become aware of tension that's always been there, but had never been a part of like a conscious effort. Like there's tension in your body, that you can realize it and actually relaxing. You're able to kind of like let go of that tension. It's just the best you do that. It's almost like muscles that have been taut and cramped up, coiled for decades, have for the first time in their life since a little bit of they relax.
What's it? Who the hell is I? Who the hell am I? I feel like the dog's gonna be nudging. She's very much like herself. She will very deadly ransom. You don't know anything about it. I know that of you. I know to protect you. I promise I'll find some way to be safe. I need to be. She can bubble it then. I don't know if very genuine that this place is. No. I think it would be interesting to put money believing something isn't doing better something. So she'll take the gun and just be like kind of looking at it, knowing that she knows you've never learned how to do that. Nothing is scripted. She's gonna point at the lock at the dog.
And you pointed at the lock before you pull the trigger. You feel like there's a strangeness here. The gun feels perfect in your hand. The gun feels right in your hand. It feels like it needs to be there. It feels like an extension of your personal body, of yourself. And she'll open, does nothing to your body at least. You know exactly what to wait for. You know exactly the sound that is going to come to you. But before you do, your finger is going to pause temporarily. And first in your palm within your hand. And you kind of feel through the extension of the gun. And then almost like a lock well. It's almost like you feel the presence of these metals on some level. Or where there is inside. You get this.
She'll also the gun very carefully. And then try to hand towards the metal, toward the padlock. And kind of reach for that feeling. And be like, oh, what is that feeling trying to connect? Like, trying to get it to she may not, like, I don't think she has the positive connection with it. And hit it, but I feel like she's come back, and that's what she wants to look she needs something to be safe, and I think that's the chance. That's the chance which is.
Let's make this an intellect roll. So it's a free path. You haven't had which will come to play for this. So we're level 1 to get higher to get this.
What the fuck? You just lied on that. What the fuck?
And so for the first moment you have this idea in your mind of like, you don't know how, you know where it is, you need help. And you kind of like wake up with your mind and you're like, help me, whatever. And all of a sudden there's like this idea of a pulse of like magnetism of energy. You don't necessarily identify it as a magnetism, but identify it as a thing that almost seems to take on a human shape. As it kind of appears in front of you, like a warbly sword, it's a see-through source of light, just enough for you to see those not invisible camouflaging things that you have in movies. As it kind of, it moves its head around the lock. You don't see the dexterity of it, right? You don't really get its hand. But it's a round, push it up, and it just ends up in the chain off of like this construction.
Looks at it, I think we're looking at
you have not necessarily ever very good at this stuff.
I'm so. You know, the voice of the hat, that's who I am now. But anything, you.
And kind of like put a positive door and push in. And
oh, I'm sorry.
You open the door and move it. And they like stick around. There's like a couple of seconds that it takes for to whatever they're doing. They have like you feel like it's like a little like that tells you like when
I don't get it. This is she's in the close to the door and again at the relief because like and which is just such tensing like just like not saying who you're to and like battles them right ahead. It'll be like sink down and it'll kind of slide down and hands away trying to breathe. As she doesn't know anything. She's like fun enough, even the race I never really felt that much of it. Voice is okay, but now for the time she's coherent. I wanted to know what it was like had I've never had. I feel like you're right. She's like I'm like breath running fingers up floor and can't get fair. Just trying to get through but just figuring out how. And I think that Ben gets just okay. This is actually the thing that me. I'll get on her and she'll try to get them. Yeah, she's a motor idea to do. I mean, she's safe. These two are the only things in the world that she can try out.
Yeah, and there are houses. This is the houses. It's close door. It's setting as far as even remote that ways you experience. But there's other things. You just like let it pass as the feeling of these warm bodies like lends you some comfort. And as time to manage to come down, you manage to get to a point where like, okay, I can't say this right. Like it's have to have certain things. And somebody you like immediately know where the is, and you go over to it and flick it, and then let it go. And you remember to like in general, acting and stuff like that. The circuit needs to be exactly. So you know where that is, and you go and you do that. And you go for all those. There's almost like comfort within the regularity of these actions. Like this is something that you feel like you're familiar with. You feel like you've done it a million times. That you can consider like you can all these things, essentially making this like returning this to an upper part of the one. And once you're on that, it's a very upper part of the warehouse. There's also a bed in your corner and everything. Like you really yourself with the layout. And it almost come back to you not as memory as thing body as your body feels calmer in the space because you used to not because it's exactly like that. And eventually you settle that lounge area where these kind of instructions for coffee on TV. And on coffee table you see a letter.
I think this should be suspicious. We're going to be like someone who has what they do. Who knows the best.
So the itself doesn't have any name or anything. It's not it is a little but I don't know if it's
Right after checks is there poison in it? Matter but she remember. So you just sleep on it and chat with us. These things are classified. I'm more it's like oh dumb joke made about that.
Yeah, that's kind of reading. Because there is in like you read and you like you have so far you've talked to tongues and you talked in English and you recognize English and you're reading this and you realize that it's not English. You realize the is not English what you're reading, people reading and as you understand language, you're sure what language it is, but you understand it and it reads Drea. For both lucky by the time you read this, I'll be fine. No, none of this bit is ended. I'm sorry. Perhaps it's about life I might live, sit around street. Love Tony.
Like emotion. Like
you don't feel any emotion at all.
Yeah. Something you know like it doesn't seem far familiar.
That seems to be similar to you.
I mean, that's me. This little age. Like has it every year or
I make honestly different things here why.
I remember that was interesting. Is someone scared of you? I'm not too sure. Okay, oh no. I knew it was funny, genuinely. I don't understand what's happening. Okay? Like, because of this, Kimberly's conflict. We know more than you before, we just have my names, and, okay, my name's Yo, and the unskilled version of that machine that might reach the assertion must start our lesson on the second machine. So I know I'm Yo. I don't know who the guy is. And I don't... What are you gonna do? There's service to this kind of thing? No, that's bad. We can stay together. But what are that? She's like, kind of having like this little style fighting with panic. But if anyone's watching, they very clearly see that she's in great distress. As much as just remember the weapon, or just remember waking up.
She does remember the weight.
And fully hot, I think.
Yeah. Well, not the thunder came before that. Like, she remembers becoming aware of nothingness and being nothing, and then the whole process
Being
of
nothing,
being
yeah. Okay. I guess the first thing to do is figure out where that void was. Like, I want to keep asking those questions with the
They invite you as many answers as they can, which is me.
and I feel bad, like mom, because all she's doing right now is like, I'm fucking screwed. Also, I just this bread warehouse, which is a safe house, sorry, there's gonna be a stash of money, a stash of money, supplies to last, I think, like, not her, apart from it, whole imagination of like items, like, she's taking her, so, like, you know, she has everything she needs to start a life.
Yeah.
Except the idea of what life is.
Exactly.
Well, this is the warehouse that the teams do. How many of them found webs at? That's really idea. Like, how do you and starting this thing, they will just ignore. It's just filled with fucking fonts and like everybody you need, whatever it is you trained in. Okay. I don't know if she would have to for her bike. Like, she wouldn't be until she was sitting again. I'm not sure you're next. She doesn't have
She kind of like struggling under just stands still within this kind of like perfect void of her now, trying to figure out what is going on. And as she does, there's this thing, this feeling, it's kind of like cool, or essentially like a launch area, or like you for some reason, and you like go over and you start skipping the channels, and there's also stuff on anything. And there's stuff. There's these news happening, talking about this charity and everything else. Something or another, like all these videos of charity happening, and all these people being handled. It's like this fine person, and you recognize. It's like this black-haired man with a charm to him, and kind of like Snake last name on the Brandstone, and know this name, know this person. This one thing really do.
Okay. How does it? I just like, is he the enemy? Like, so, she also would like, search like, I know you. There's that immediate search in the thing. I think what the fuck's going on. Because you said she's just I can't listen. Why don't you? Is there a way I can like see this face? Because like, the multi videos that, but also like, really subtle face. So she tries to decide if I could get much into that face. I don't know. She was maybe following like the habits, right?
Yeah, and there's a recognition of the face.
So we don't miss. I mean, we fucking read it. No, we have to. She's like, there's any like oh. The rest of the animals, we'll take it. Anytime, I would fucking think that, yeah, she'll find to be first and hide it. I love it when she can say, like, to be fair, that's one thing she asks. And I said, we don't do it. So she's time you look after them first. And like, make sure that they're not hard, but like, not necessarily a full group, like, they get out, do they even do they
this is the point where we're going to go into a little montage. We're going to go into a little bit of a montage as we see Rhea kind of like move through emotions, make sure that move out to serve the story. And this search takes her through most of the city, and a lot of things happen, a lot of take her to different places, exactly. But there are parts that seem so strange and familiar. And as she follows it, and they pick up the same things that way, but this search is unsuccessful because the dogs use it completely. And this seems because no day passes, and there is no hope for finding this window. She never sees the sees on land. The dogs that got sent. But over time, some people, one person seems so interested in how to she's up a tree with being him, like his bathroom back in discussion kind of nightclub, being very worried about compound where the ocean lakes, the lights going on. Very many people who their own looks children, there's maybe she has those who know this doesn't work. It's all she meets people as time passes, she might get to see and meet and learn about Remember more. And I think there's going to be a spot for us to stop this.
Holy shit. I have work for you, but it's like, don't get me you said like one of the holy shit. I know the language, I'm vanishing on the front. Also, doesn't matter. The game, I'm looking, I take on and then I smack this out. Going to be the I didn't like you can from Twitch and look at Cypher and just find me on TikTok with Skype and I Twitter use it because it must be there. Sorry, it's monetized. So yeah, I don't know yet. I'm like Thursday and Fridays. Thursday is my rival. Where I might make mango split, but it's all done. I make that week and for Friday 5%. No more, sir. I'm leaving. I'm sorry.
I have been pro possible to continue to be on Thursday. You can go on stream 2 evening streams on streaming videos at the moment are Moonrise Station, Game Model, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And on Sunday at 11 CT, we do currently advance bloodlines, the global movie. The unofficial patch, there's like a whole bunch of stuff and everything.